am Pinocchio. We're here to talk about games.
I adore this game. What I'm planning on doing is a 3-part series where I go over Cult of the Lamb, and then the second one is going to be kind of like my perspective as a cult survivor and playing this game, whether it was triggering, what it felt like, kind of what my experience more personally was. We're back after a pretty long hiatus to discuss Cult of the Lamb some more. I've actually beaten the game now, and I'm still playing it just for fun and for more footage for you guys. But it's been a really awesome experience, and I'm ready to talk about what it was like as a cult survivor to play a game about cults. So here we go. Cult of the Lamb is a well-blended combination of farming community simulation with dungeon crawling crusade, all under the umbrella of leading a cult under the bidding of the one who waits. Physical copies are a bit pricey, but this title is on sale on the eShop right now for 50% off for the next week or so. It's a fun game with lots of content, though it can be a bit glitchy at times. When I first heard about this game a couple of years ago, I was immediately interested, but also slightly skeptical. I was unsure how well anyone could handle this subject matter, or more honestly, how I would handle games made out of this subject matter. Upon getting a hold of a copy though, I was thoroughly impressed, or slightly obsessed, at least for the first couple of days of playing. The game weaves together religious themes in such a way that had me chuckling about things that had previously caused me personal trauma. The cutesy nature of everything keeps the harsh realities of cults in the real world at bay. There is dark terminology, but it's alongside dancing animals who poop, vomit, and work while whimpering, giggling, and meditating. It's hard to take seriously the idea of converting people to the dark side while you see your army of fish and unicorn followers donning farmers' hats and chef outfits and tending to their daily chores. I have mixed feelings about that, the contradiction of showcasing these harmful actions but in a playful light. On the one hand, it really helped me to take myself and my pain a little less seriously, laugh at things, and get out of my head a little bit. On the other hand, there is something potentially dangerous about making light of actions that cults take to control other people. In the long run, though, I think that open discussion of those methods is an important step to worldwide education about the ways that groups can manipulate individuals and the ways that an individual can manipulate a group. If a goofy video game about lambs and cats and mushrooms is the way that those conversations begin, I'm all for it. I learned a lot of video game skills while playing Cult of the Lamb. In the past, when confronted with a title that has a lot of different mechanics, I generally get overwhelmed and frustrated pretty early on. If confronted with something like a skill tree or an upgrade system or complicated map, I'll get pretty nervous and anxious. If there are multiple things to look at, like a heads-up display, I struggle to keep track of everything or pick up cues that might be otherwise obvious to different players, more experienced gamers. If there are maneuvers that require pushing multiple buttons at once, multiple weapons to handle, charge, or switch between, power-ups or timing systems to pay attention to, each of those presents a very unique challenge for me to work through, and Cult of the Lamb had a little bit of everything. As far as culty content goes, the game has almost everything. No baptisms for the dead though. Some practices are so wacky even game developers won't mess with them. There are definite depictions of sacrifice, tithes, forced marriage, discipleship, missionary work, confession, absolution of sin, and other ritualistic and religious actions. There is phrasing that could be potentially triggering to people who are still working through their faith deconstructions. But like I mentioned earlier, I found it to be an enjoyable game, with content that allowed me to laugh at my own experience, rather than something offensive or in otherwise poor taste. Throughout the game, you will take care of your flock by tending to your cult base. You'll give them regular sermons, personal attention to each of your followers. You can awe them with decorations and gifts, feed them. You even have the power to determine who they mate with. They are nothing without you. You will fight in crusades, conduct ritual sacrifice, move bodies in the dead of night, get all your minions high on trippy mushrooms just so you don't have to feed them for a while. By the end of the game, you won't recognize your own morals anymore, but it won't matter because after all, you hold the red crown, and morals are what you say they are. Thank you.